North Korea is one of the most tightly controlled countries in the world. A key feature of the country is a system known as songbun. This is a social ranking system that evaluates individuals based on their family's loyalty to the government. If you are born into a family that is considered loyal to the regime, life can be easier. You might have access to better education, higher-paying jobs, and even the opportunity to live in the capital, Pyongyang. However, if your family is considered disloyal, you will likely live in poverty with few options for work, mostly in remote areas and lower-paying jobs. When children start school, they don't just learn traditional subjects like math and science. Political education is mandatory. Every subject taught in school is framed in a way that praises Kim Jong-un and his family, who are seen as the rightful leaders of the people. The media, including books, TV, and radio, is tightly controlled. Citizens are blocked from accessing the global internet and are only allowed to use a state-managed, censored network. Under this system, even personal decisions are heavily restricted. The government controls who can marry whom based on their songbun. If you come from a lower-ranking family, marrying someone from a higher-ranking family is nearly impossible. If you happen to be in a public place and see a portrait of Kim Jong-un, you are expected to express sorrow by crying. In North Korea, even showing emotions like crying is carefully regulated. And this control extends further. The government decides where people can live, what clothes they wear, and even how they look. There are 28 approved hairstyles for both men and women, and choosing any other style can lead to punishment. This obsession with control leaves no room for personal freedom or any deviation from the state's strict rules. If every part of your life was controlled, from your job to your haircut, could you adapt? Let us know in the comments. When you enter North Korea, it becomes clear that the outside world is shut out. North Koreans have never experienced McDonald's, never tasted a Coca-Cola, or had an American-style hamburger. The country follows a strict policy of self-reliance. If something can't be produced locally, it doesn't exist. Even everyday items like blue jeans were banned for years. Why? Because jeans were seen as a symbol of American capitalism, which contradicts the country's socialist values. Instead, most people wear uniforms, basic trousers, or traditional clothing. But it's not just Western food or fashion that's restricted. Even basic hygiene products that many of us consider normal are nearly impossible to find. Many women in North Korea still use reusable cloths during menstruation, as sanitary pads are rare and expensive. While sanitary pads technically exist, they are usually sold on the black market for high prices. Most women cannot afford them, so they rely on older, less convenient methods. This shortage of basic sanitary items results from the government's focus on heavy industry and military production, which leaves little room for consumer goods. Surprisingly, even something as basic as condoms is something many North Koreans don't know about. The government actually discourages the use of modern contraceptives because they want to encourage population growth, believing more people will lead to more workers for the state. In terms of technology, North Korea is stuck in the past. Smartphones? Not really. There are no iPhones, no Samsung Galaxies, and no MacBooks. Instead, people use locally made phones from brands like Arirang, Jindalai, or Pyongyang. These phones are very basic, offering only the simplest features. And here's the twist: every phone is equipped with a built-in surveillance system. The government monitors everything, ensuring no unauthorized content is accessed. And if you're finding these insights eye-opening, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you won't miss the next chapters. Now, let's talk about why North Korean women are among the hardest in the world to marry. If you think the restrictions in North Korea only affect the daily lives of regular citizens, think again. In North Korea, women are expected to follow strict guidelines regarding their appearance. Long skirts, long sleeves, and neutral colors dominate their clothing, and most women rarely stray from this style. Even pants were once banned for women. Kim Il-sung, the country's first leader, believed pants were meant for men only. This rule was only lifted during the reign of Kim Jong-un, and it took decades before women were allowed to wear pants again. When it comes to marriage, it's far from the romantic ideal you might expect. Women in North Korea are often married off at a young age, usually in their early 20s. By the time a woman reaches 30 and remains unmarried, it is seen as odd and even socially unacceptable. Divorce is uncommon, not because all marriages are perfect, but because the culture strongly discourages separation. There is intense social pressure to stay married, and divorce carries a significant stigma, making it almost impossible to leave an unhappy marriage. The most surprising part, however, is the government's position on marriages to foreigners. If you think about marrying a North Korean woman and bringing her to your country, think again. Marriage to a foreigner is almost impossible. The North Korean government sees such unions as a threat to the nation's purity. They believe that marrying outsiders could weaken the loyalty of future generations to the regime and even pollute the country's pure bloodline. In most parts of the world, a monthly salary is enough to live comfortably, pay bills, and enjoy a few luxuries. But in North Korea, the situation is quite different. The average factory worker earns only $3 to $5 a month, while even doctors, who are highly respected in many societies, make just around $10 to $15 monthly. Most North Koreans don't rely on their salary the way people in other countries do. Instead, they depend on state subsidies to survive. The government is supposed to provide free housing, rice, cooking oil, electricity, and even education and healthcare. However, in rural areas, these resources are often delayed, and people sometimes go months without enough rice. Without consistent supplies, North Koreans often turn to makeshift markets known as jangmadang to purchase daily necessities. These goods are much more expensive than those provided by the state, but without them, many people would struggle to get by. Electricity is another major problem. North Korea is famous for its frequent power outages. When viewed from space at night, the country is nearly pitch dark, except for a few lights in Pyongyang, the capital. In rural areas, electricity may be available for only a few hours each day. City residents may get more electricity, but it's still unreliable. To cope, families often use candles or oil lamps at night. Wealthier households might buy car batteries to store power, but this only provides enough electricity to power a few lights or charge a phone. For many, this means living without dependable lighting or appliances, making it incredibly difficult to study, work, or simply function. Hot water is also a rare luxury for most North Koreans. Public bathhouses, the only places where people can get a warm shower, are heated by coal, wood, or oil. During winter, these bathhouses are packed with people waiting for hours to bathe. For those who can't stand the wait, they heat water in a basin at home, but this is hardly a comfortable alternative. Okay, be honest, could you make it on just $3 to $10 a month with power outages and no hot showers? Comment yes if you think you could tough it out, no if it sounds impossible. Kim Jong-il, the former leader of North Korea, led a life that most would consider wildly extravagant, especially when compared to the suffering of his own people. One of Kim Jong-il's most famous obsessions was his love for movies. His personal collection was said to include over 20,000 DVDs and films, many of them rare and hard to find. His passion for films went so far that in the 1970s, he kidnapped a famous South Korean filmmaker and his wife, a well-known actress. They were forced to make films for him for 8 years while being held captive in his palaces. Kim Jong-il owned dozens of palaces, a private train equipped with bulletproof cars, and even his own private island. His personal chefs were flown in from other countries to prepare meals for him, and these meals often featured exotic foods, rare wines, and delicacies that would cost ordinary people an entire lifetime's worth of wages. Kim Jong-il's luxury wasn't limited to food and travel. He also had a personal harem. He maintained a pleasure squad, a secret group of 2,000 young women whose sole purpose was to entertain him and his closest associates. These women, often selected as teenagers, were forced to live in isolation. Some were trained as dancers, others as singers, and many existed purely for Kim Jong-il's pleasure. While Kim Jong-il indulged in these unimaginable excesses, his people were starving. During the 1990s, when North Korea experienced one of its worst famines, it's reported that millions of North Koreans died from hunger, while Kim Jong-il continued to live a life of extreme luxury. Like his father, Kim Jong-un has an intense obsession with luxury. He owns a fleet of private jets, including one specially equipped for his personal use, and also has a collection of luxury yachts and armored vehicles. His love for high-end cars is well known, with reports claiming that his collection features Ferraris, Mercedes-Benz, and even armored limousines. One of his most notable indulgences is his passion for food. Just like his father, Kim Jong-un demands the finest food available. It has been reported that he imports exotic delicacies from all over the world, including French cheeses and expensive wines, while his people struggle to get basic necessities. He is even known to have caviar and sushi flown in from overseas to satisfy his cravings. Kim Jong-un's obsession with pleasure also extends to his personal life. He has kept a pleasure squad, a group of young women chosen for their beauty and talent, to fulfill his personal desires. There are also rumors that Kim Jong-un has several mistresses in addition to his wife, Ri Sol-ju, and leads a secretive, extravagant life. What is truly shocking is that Kim Jong-un hosts extravagant parties at his palaces, complete with imported alcohol, exotic foods, and top-tier entertainment, while his people are so desperate for food that some resort to eating tree bark. Chefs are flown in from around the world to prepare gourmet meals for him, even as ordinary North Koreans often survive on only a few spoonfuls of rice, if they are lucky. Intelligence reports indicate that Kim Jong-un spends more than $300 million each year on personal luxuries, while the average North Korean earns less than $2 a day. The conflict between North and South Korea has endured for over 70 years. On one side, bold threats are made, such as, with a single button, we can wipe out South Korea, while the other side responds with joint military exercises and advanced defense systems. Although the Korean War technically ended in 1953 with an armistice, not a peace treaty, the effects of the war continue to be felt across the Korean peninsula. While South Korea has evolved into a thriving democracy and global powerhouse, North Korea remains a tightly controlled, totalitarian state. Despite their stark differences, the two countries remain closely linked in a unique and often hostile relationship. One of the most unusual aspects of this ongoing conflict is the use of psychological warfare and propaganda by both nations. South Korea, aware of the North Korean regime's tight control over its citizens, has resorted to broadcasting K-pop music and foreign news directly into North Korea. Using large loudspeakers along the heavily fortified border, South Korea plays upbeat pop songs, promotes democratic ideals, and broadcasts global news into North Korean territory. The aim is to expose North Koreans to outside information, something the regime works hard to keep from them. North Korea, in response, has deployed its own loudspeakers, blasting revolutionary songs and anti-South Korean rhetoric to maintain the regime's ideological control. The irony of this sound war, with each side trying to drown out the other's message with louder broadcasts, highlights that much of the conflict is driven by competing ideas rather than territorial disputes. But the conflict goes beyond sound. The regime in Pyongyang is obsessed with blocking South Korean influence. If a North Korean citizen is caught watching a South Korean TV show or listening to K-pop, they face severe punishment. The North Korean government views South Korean media as a corrupting force that could weaken the regime's hold. And those caught consuming it could face imprisonment, forced labor, or even execution. Yet, despite the risks, some North Koreans have defied the authorities, sneaking across the border or listening to smuggled foreign media to hear K-pop. As tensions escalated, South Korea adjusted its strategy. Rather than blasting music, they began sending balloons filled with leaflets, USB drives containing Korean dramas and K-pop songs, and even US dollars across the border. The mission remained the same, to offer North Koreans a glimpse of the outside world. In a bizarre response, North Korea launched thousands of balloons filled with trash into South Korea, totaling nearly 15 tons, with one balloon landing dangerously close to the presidential palace. The idea that North Korea could destroy South Korea at the push of a button is not just a threat, but a very real one. With an army of about 1.3 million soldiers, North Korea maintains one of the largest standing armies in the world, supported by a vast reserve force and a comprehensive military infrastructure. Since 2006, North Korea has carried out several successful nuclear tests, some of which produced bombs far more powerful than those used in the Hiroshima attack. The country's ability to launch long-range missiles, some of which could potentially target the United States, and has turned its military into a source of fear for both regional powers and global superpowers. But North Korea's power doesn't rely solely on nuclear weapons. The country has heavily invested in a wide range of conventional arms, including artillery, tanks, fighter jets, and special forces. For example, North Korea's artillery is among the largest in the world, with thousands of pieces capable of reaching South Korea and even Japan. In addition, North Korea has built a massive military infrastructure along its border with South Korea. The Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, is one of the most heavily fortified borders in the world, lined with landmines, barbed wire, and bunkers. On top of that, the country's military is bolstered by the Worker-Peasant Red Guard, a militia force of more than 5 million people. This means that in the event of a full-scale war, North Korea could mobilize up to 8 million people, making it one of the most militarized nations in the world. Conscription is mandatory for both men and women, and individuals are expected to serve for up to 10 years, creating a highly disciplined and prepared population. North Korea's military-first policy, known as Jong-un, has become a central aspect of the country's political and economic structure. This policy has shaped the way the country governs, focusing on military strength above all else. North Korea may officially call itself a socialist state, but in many ways it functions like a modern-day feudal dynasty. At the center of this system is the Kim family, which has held power for over 70 years. Leadership has passed from Kim Il-sung to his son Kim Jong-il, and now to Kim Jong-un, following a pattern of hereditary succession similar to royal families. Now, the world's attention is turning toward Kim Joo-ae, Kim Jong-un's young daughter. Barely in her early teens, she has already appeared with her father at significant events, from large military parades to visits to missile facilities. State media has even referred to her as respected, a title once reserved only for the nation's supreme leader. With such extraordinary privileges, many speculate that Kim Joo-ae is being prepared to become North Korea's future crown princess. In fact, the country's laws reflect this dynastic tradition. For example, the Juche calendar, which starts in 1912, marks the year of Kim Il-sung's birth, symbolizing his status as the founding father of the modern nation. Much like royal families trace their ancestry to ancient ancestors, like the royal courts of the past, North Korea has experienced its share of brutal power struggles. In 2013, Kim Jong-un had his uncle, Jang Song-taek, once considered his most trusted advisor and the country's second most powerful man, executed on charges of treason. Just 4 years later, in 2017, Kim Jong-un's half-brother, Kim Jong-nam, was attacked at Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia. 2 women smeared VX nerve agent on his face, causing his death in under 20 minutes. Many governments and intelligence agencies suspected Kim Jong-un's involvement, as Kim Jong-nam had been living in exile and was seen as a potential threat to the regime. Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, is not only the country's largest city but also one of the most isolated and secretive cities in the world. Living in Pyongyang means being part of the regime's inner circle. Unlike other cities, where residency is determined by everyday factors, in Pyongyang, it is a privilege granted only to those deemed loyal to the regime with an impeccable political record. The city is meticulously designed, with wide boulevards, towering monuments, and grand state buildings. It's a place built to showcase the strength and power of the regime, and it is here that the Kim family's influence is most strongly felt. Pyongyang is a city that almost ignores the existence of the outside world. Foreign visitors are closely monitored and only allowed to stay in approved areas. Even the people who live there face restrictions on their movement, often needing special permission just to leave the city or travel within it. Life in Pyongyang is vastly different from the rest of the country. The city boasts some of the best infrastructure, including an impressive metro system with stations that resemble palaces more than typical train stops, while the rest of the country struggles with power shortages and a lack of basic services. In most capital cities, rush hour is a hectic mix of honking horns and crowded streets. But in Pyongyang, the streets are strikingly empty, with very few cars visible. It's common for people to stand in the middle of wide, multi-lane roads and not see a single car for several minutes. This is due to the severe shortage of private vehicles in North Korea. Cars are a rare luxury, only owned by the highest-ranking officials or those with special government connections. For the average person, owning a car is nearly impossible. The government also enforces strict limitations on the number of vehicles allowed on the roads, leading to the almost complete absence of traffic. Instead, public transportation is the main way for most Pyongyang residents to get around. Buses and trams are often crowded with passengers, making the daily commute a cramped and sometimes uncomfortable experience. Due to frequent fuel shortages, these public services often operate on a limited schedule. Interestingly, bicycles are a common sight in Pyongyang. With cars so rare, many people rely on bicycles to travel around the city. In North Korea, festivals and cultural events are more than just celebrations. They serve as a reflection of the regime's ideology and a powerful means of maintaining control over the population. The most important event of the year is the Day of the Sun, which takes place on April 15th to honor the birthday of Kim Il-sung, the country's founder. This day is marked by grand military parades, synchronized performances, and fireworks that display the regime's strength. Tens of thousands of people participate in these events, showing their loyalty to the ruling family. Along with these political celebrations, traditional festivals like the Lunar New Year and the Lantern Festival are observed. These festivals allow North Koreans to participate in cultural practices while still being under the watchful eye of the regime. The Arong Mass Games, a record-breaking event with over 100,000 participants, also combines culture and political ideology, presenting a display of unity and devotion to the Kim family. North Korean cuisine is shaped by the country's limited resources. Traditional dishes such as kimchi and naengmyeon, cold noodles, are common, typically served with rice and vegetables. Taedonggang beer, produced locally, is a source of pride for North Koreans and is considered one of the best beers in East Asia. Although there is limited variety in ingredients, the regime has used food as a symbol of self-sufficiency, even promoting the local production of alcohol and crops. A must-see destination in North Korea is Kaesong, a city located near the South Korean border that was once the capital of the Goryeo Dynasty. Kaesong is home to ancient tombs of Goryeo kings, traditional wooden houses that are over 600 years old, and the Goryeo Museum, which displays priceless historical artifacts. The city's commitment to preserving its historical heritage makes it a fascinating stop for those interested in North Korea's past. Another notable location is Mount Myeohyang, a peaceful mountain range known for its stunning natural beauty and the International Friendship Exhibition, which showcases tens of thousands of gifts given to North Korean leaders. The serene landscape and historical significance of Mount Myeohyang create a perfect blend of nature and culture. Lastly, Mount Kumgang, also known as Diamond Mountain, is one of the country's most famous scenic spots. With its cascading waterfalls, clear lakes, and ancient temples, it provides a picturesque retreat, especially beautiful in the spring and autumn. North Korea is home to some of the world's most enigmatic and unexplained locations. One such place is Lake Chon on Mount Chilbo, located in North Hamgyong province. This small volcanic lake is surrounded by dramatic cliffs and is the center of many local myths. Some claim that the lake's water mysteriously changes color, shifting from blue to gray after heavy rainfall. Locals believe there is a hidden power beneath the surface, but no scientific studies have been allowed. The volcanic activity in the area only adds to its mysterious atmosphere, leaving both visitors and scientists wondering about what lies beneath. Another intriguing site is Mount Paektu, the highest peak on the Korean peninsula and a symbolic birthplace of the Korean people. The mountain's Heaven Lake, located within its crater, has been the subject of numerous myths and rumors. Some reports suggest that the lake's water levels change rapidly, sometimes rising by up to a meter in just a few days, with no clear explanation. Geologists have speculated that these fluctuations could be tied to underground volcanic activity, but the true cause remains unknown. Mount Paektu is not only a key geological site but also deeply embedded in North Korea's national mythology, as the place where Kim Il-sung is said to have defeated Japanese forces during the fight for independence. Visiting North Korea is a unique experience, but it requires careful planning and strict adherence to rules. Foreigners are not allowed to travel freely within the country. All tours must be arranged through approved tour companies, and tourists are accompanied by state-approved guides at all times. When it comes to photography, tourists need to be cautious about what they capture. Photos of military installations, infrastructure, or anything considered sensitive by the regime are strictly prohibited. During meals, tourists are typically served a set menu that often includes rice, kimchi and naengmyeon cold noodles. Special dietary requests can be accommodated, but it's important to inform the tour operator well in advance. Sharing food with locals is generally considered inappropriate and can lead to uncomfortable situations. Shopping is limited to state-run stores that sell items specifically meant for tourists. You won't be able to visit local shops or markets on your own. Additionally, payments must be made in foreign currency, with USD or euros being the most widely accepted. Finally, when speaking with locals, stick to safe topics like tourist sites or the country's history. Discussing politics or criticizing the regime can result in serious consequences. Visiting North Korea offers a rare glimpse into one of the most isolated and secretive nations on Earth. The question that lingers is this: how much longer will the world stand by as this nightmare unfolds? And what will it take to finally free the North Korean people from their prison-like nation? Let us know in the comments. We read every single one. And don't forget to hit subscribe, turn on notifications bell so we can see you again in our next video. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I hope you enjoyed it. Your support truly means the world. Wishing you the best of luck. The ancient crossroads that time forgot. Armenia is one of only 6 countries in the world that has endured for thousands of years, standing alongside Iran, China, Greece, Egypt, and Japan. While empires rose and fell around it, this small nation at the crossroads of Europe and Asia has maintained its identity and culture through millennia. With summers that are dry and hot but not as stifling as African deserts, and winters that are beautifully snowy like fairy tale towns in Switzerland, Armenia offers a climate that feels both familiar and exotic. The primary language is Armenian, one of the oldest languages still in use today, featuring a unique alphabet with 39 characters that look like beautiful, complex art. The Armenians were so proud of this linguistic achievement that they created an entire national park dedicated to honoring their alphabet. The land of legendary beauty. In 2015, a reader survey involving 45,000 men and over 66,000 women revealed that Armenia dethroned Brazil as the country with the most alluring women. But this isn't just about physical beauty. Armenian women often have distinct facial features inherited from their ancient Caucasian ancestors: deep-set eyes, high noses, fair skin, and thick, shiny black hair. People often say that if Iranian women are beautiful like poets and Russian women are beautiful like paintings, then Armenian women are beautiful like living ancient statues. What's even more impressive is that these women aren't just pretty faces. Today, many Armenian women pursue higher education and work in fields like art, healthcare, technology, and even politics. Villages where women rule. What do you think about villages with plenty of single women but a serious shortage of men? With a female population of 54% and males only 46%, and thousands of men in their working age leaving villages to work in Russia or neighboring countries for 8 to 10 months a year, life in these communities has almost become a woman's world. They raise livestock, plow fields, sell produce, care for children, and look after the elderly at home. All tasks traditionally thought to be for men are now handled by these resilient women. But here's what's truly remarkable. Despite their tough exterior and demanding responsibilities, they remain gentle and charming, with long hair neatly tied back, deep-set eyes, and smiles as soft as afternoon sun spilling over the Caucasus Mountains. And if you're a male visitor to these villages, you'll experience a warmth of welcome that's unforgettable. Drop a number 3 in the comments if you want to come here and meet these beautiful ladies. A dark chapter that shaped a nation.
A gathering at Troy Riverfront Park tonight commemorated the 110th anniversary of the Armenian genocide.
Before we continue with the lighter facts, we need to acknowledge a horrific milestone that shaped Armenian identity forever. The Armenian genocide is widely known, yet few countries acknowledge it, fearing conflict with Turkey. It wasn't until April 24, 2021, that Joe Biden became the first U.S. president in history to recognize this incident, which occurred more than 100 years ago during the Ottoman Empire.
Troy is a sister city to a city in Artsakh today, and it was all due to the work with ANC. She worked very closely with us and made that happen, and we are only one of 3 cities in the entire United States that are sister cities with a city in Artsakh today. So thank you so much for that.
Over 1.5 million Armenians were eliminated between 1915 and 1917. This catastrophic event forced Armenians to live in scattered diaspora across the globe. That's why the total number of Armenians worldwide is between 10 and 12 million, while the population of Armenia itself is only about 3 million. This tragedy created a global Armenian community that maintains strong connections to their homeland while contributing to cultures worldwide. If you're finding the story about Armenia fascinating, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell right now, because up next, we're heading deep underground to uncover centuries-old secrets. The underground cities of ancient Armenia. Now let's explore something that sounds like it's straight out of a fantasy novel. Nestled among the majestic Zangezur Mountains in southern Armenia, the town of Goris appears modest with its old houses. But look closer, and you'll discover ancient cave houses jutting out like fossilized beehives where Armenians once lived, worshipped, and raised livestock underground for centuries. These caves, located in natural volcanic chimneys, were hand-carved by ancient people to create shelter. This wasn't just a housing system, it was a brilliant survival strategy. These underground homes were warm in winter, cool in summer, and especially resistant to conflict. In Goris and the nearby village of Khandzorsk, many families lived in these caves until the 1950s when the government began relocating residents to the surface. Today, although most caves have been abandoned, some still retain their religious functions or are used by locals as places to escape the heat, store wine, and even raise chickens. The bread that requires risking your life. Armenia has a signature bread that bakers literally risk their lives to make. This unique bread requires the baker to jump into the oven to bake it. Yes, you heard that correctly. This legendary Armenian bread is called lavash. Made with simple ingredients flour, salt, and water, it's divided into small, ball-shaped portions. Each piece is rolled out very thin and stretched into an oval shape with incredibly skilled dough spinning techniques that have been passed down through generations. The fascinating part of making lavash bread is the oven. It's made from clay, shaped like a large pot, and buried deep in the ground. The bread isn't baked on a rack like you might expect. Instead, it's pressed onto the inside wall of the oven, preventing the edges from burning. The divine creation of the dough and the baker's dramatic leap into the oven are the highlights of this ancient technique. However, this technique requires extreme skill and speed. If you accidentally slip, you could literally get baked with the bread. After just a few minutes, the bread is golden brown and puffed up, ready to be taken out. At this stage, it becomes two different types of bread, depending on its thickness. Crispy, dry lavash is used as a snack, while soft lavash is wrapped around fillings like meat, salmon, or vegetables to make appetizers. Would you dare to try baking lavash the traditional Armenian way, leaning into that fiery oven? Drop comment number 1 if you would, or number 2 if you'd rather stay safe on the sidelines. In Armenian culture, lavash isn't just food, it's deeply symbolic. It's an essential part of New Year's and Christmas celebrations. At weddings, lavash bread is placed on the shoulders of the bride and groom as a wish for happiness and good fortune. The only country where chess is mandatory. Armenia is the only country in the world that has made chess a mandatory subject for every child aged 6 and older. That's right, every Armenian child is now required to study and play chess weekly as part of their regular curriculum. Officials in the country believe that chess lessons will help children increase their IQ, problem-solving skills, and creativity. The results are absolutely remarkable. You shouldn't be too surprised to see 4th graders in Armenia capable of playing blindfolded chess without even looking at the board. These kids have developed mental visualization skills that most adults struggle to achieve. President Serge Sargsyan's government pledged to invest €1 million, over $1.06 million, into a project to introduce chess into primary schools, hoping to make the country a powerhouse in the field. The investment has created specialized chess classrooms, trained teachers, and developed a curriculum that integrates chess thinking into other subjects. However, this ambitious program hasn't been without controversy. Many educators and teachers have voiced opposition to this regulation. Rosenhabi, Secretary General of the Teachers Association, emphasized that they should immediately get rid of mandatory subjects in schools and choose appropriate subjects for each group of students based on their abilities, rather than forcing them to learn specific skills. The pink city that glows at sunset. Let's transport you to Yerevan, the capital of Armenia, established in 782 BC. Walking into this city is like stepping into a living piece of history, where every cobblestone, every house wall, and every hill tells the story of thousands of years of human civilization. But here's what makes Yerevan truly magical. The entire city is wrapped in a gentle pink hue, thanks to the unique volcanic tuff stone found only in Armenia. That's why Yerevan is known as the Pink City, and when evening light hits these buildings, the entire city glows, shimmering with an otherworldly beauty that feels strangely peaceful. The volcanic stone isn't just beautiful, it's also incredibly durable and provides excellent insulation, making it perfect for the region's climate. Life in Yerevan is simple yet rich in character. The Armenian people are famous for their hospitality and sincerity. They won't hesitate to invite you for a glass of homemade apricot vodka or to enjoy freshly baked lavash bread. However, there are cultural nuances that visitors should understand. While English is quite common in Yerevan, especially among the youth, communication may be challenging in rural areas. But instead of avoiding interaction, Armenians will use their eyes, smiles, and hearts to communicate with you. And here's a crucial cultural tip. If someone invites you into their home for dinner, be sure to accept. Refusing such hospitality is considered deeply offensive. Free-flowing water 24/7. In Yerevan, if you're thirsty, don't look for a supermarket or vending machine. Look for a pulpulak. That's the affectionate name for small public water fountains, standing less than 3 feet tall, often found along roads, in parks, near churches, or right in the middle of squares. What makes these fountains extraordinary is that the water from pulpulak is not controlled by a button or timer. The water flows continuously 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, year-round, even in the freezing winter. This is possible because Armenia has such a rich network of underground water and mountain springs that the government can provide free public drinking water for everyone. And here's the best part: you can drink straight from the tap, something that even many cities in Europe still consider a luxury. Yerevan has over 1,500 pulpulaks scattered throughout the city. Locals even have their own favorite pulpulak because they believe the taste of the water differs from each fountain due to different underground sources. Some fountains are known for particularly sweet water, others for their mineral content, and some for their perfect temperature. A festival calendar that never ends. Armenia may overwhelm visitors not with grandeur, but with its packed festival calendar throughout the year. People joke that Armenians work to organize festivals because each season and region in Armenia has its reason to celebrate, sing, dance, and feast. One of the most peculiar and lively festivals is Vardavar, the Water Dousing Festival. During this celebration, whether you are a tourist, an elder, or dressed in a business suit, you might get splashed with a bucket of water in the street. And here's the cultural twist: you'll have to happily accept it because getting angry about being soaked is considered bad luck. In the fall, the Arini Wine Festival leaves visitors intoxicated by traditional wines made from the oldest grape varieties in the world. Here you can enjoy handcrafted wines, dance with locals, and admire colorful folk art performances. The Apricot Festival celebrates the country's iconic fruit, where visitors can sample everything from jams and pastries to wines and apricot sauce. If you love art and tradition, don't miss the Carpet Weaving Festival, where Armenian women showcase hand-weaving techniques that have existed for thousands of years. The Folk Music Festival offers an engaging audiovisual experience as hundreds of artists from various regions gather to perform with traditional instruments like the duduk. Its warm and melancholic sound has been recognized by UNESCO as a cultural heritage. The village where storks build skyscrapers. Imagine wandering into a small village in Armenia, where you encounter a sight completely different from anywhere else in the world. This is a village where every wooden post along the road has a massive stork nest perched on top, creating what looks like an avian apartment complex. These storks are not only the peculiar residents of the village, but they also migrate from Armenia to Africa every year before winter arrives and return in spring, making this one of the most reliable natural phenomena you can witness. The enormous nests you see, standing about 10 to 15 feet high, are not only homes for storks but also for smaller birds like sparrows, which casually nest in these spacious dormitories. You won't find a sight quite like this anywhere else in the world. The reason this village has become a stork paradise is simple. The locals deeply cherish and protect the stork population, and they've built these unusual wooden posts to provide safe homes for the birds to live and breed. It's not just a peaceful village, it's a vibrant example of harmony between humans and nature that has been maintained for generations. Bathing as social culture. In Armenia, bathing is not merely a hygiene habit but an essential part of social culture that will completely change how you think about public spaces. Traditional Armenian hammams are spaces where people not only cleanse their bodies but also connect, socialize, and share life experiences. If you think that soaking in a bathhouse is just for relaxation, you haven't realized that in Armenian hammams, it's like a social hub. Just as Americans gather in cafes to chat, Armenians congregate in hammams to converse, play backgammon, or even negotiate business contracts. These hammams feature bathing rooms built with high domed ceilings, marble stone, and natural hot water, architectural features that have been in use since the 13th century. Walking into these spaces feels like stepping into a historical monument rather than just a bathing place. The health benefits are remarkable too. Bathing in Armenian hammams can reduce stress, improve blood circulation, and promote detoxification. Health experts claim that this traditional bathing method is an excellent way to eliminate toxins from the body, leaving your skin smooth and healthy while providing mental relaxation that modern spas struggle to replicate. The wings of TTV, a world record in the clouds. Now we're getting to something that will literally take your breath away. Perched on a cliff over 2,800 feet high amidst the stunning valleys of southern Armenia, the TTV monastery appears like a real-life fairy tale, both serene and breathtaking. Founded in the 9th century, TTV was once the most important academic and spiritual center in the Caucasus, where monks preserved knowledge and culture through centuries of turmoil. But what makes this monastery magnificent in modern times isn't just its historical significance. It's the way people get there, not by bus and certainly not by hiking up treacherous mountain paths, but via the longest cable car in the world. Let that sink in for a moment, the longest passenger cable car journey on Earth. Officially inaugurated on October 16, 2010, the Wings of TTV cable car stretches 18,881 feet, that's 5,752 meters, and holds the Guinness World Record for the longest passenger cable car journey without a stop. The entire trip lasts only 11 minutes, but those 11 minutes will be some of the most spectacular of your life. Picture this, you're gliding over deep gorges and pristine forests with a maximum height of 1,050 feet above the ground. The cable car can carry up to 25 people per trip, with a capacity of about 200 passengers per hour. What's remarkable is that the entire cable car system was designed and completed in just 10 months to European technical standards, but impressive enough to earn praise from Swiss engineers who are considered the world's experts in mountain transportation. As you soar through the air, suspended between heaven and earth, you'll witness landscapes that seem untouched by time. The ancient monastery grows larger as you approach, and you begin to understand why this location was chosen centuries ago as a place for spiritual contemplation and learning. Armenian inventions that changed the world. Here's something that will completely change how you see Armenia's contribution to human civilization. This small country has given the world some of the most significant inventions and innovations that we use every day, often without realizing their Armenian origins. One of the most significant contributions is the Armenian alphabet itself, created by the monk Mesrop Mashtots in 405 AD. This wasn't just creating letters, it was preserving an entire culture and enabling the transmission of knowledge across generations. Additionally, Armenia is credited with inventing the first textbook on arithmetic, created by an Armenian mathematician, laying the foundation for future developments in mathematics education. In modern times, Armenian-born individuals have revolutionized technology and medicine in ways that affect millions of lives daily. Emil Berliner, the inventor of the microphone and a pioneer in modern recording technology, was of Armenian descent. Without him, the world might not have heard the first recordings of humanity, and the entire music industry as we know it might not exist. Another notable name is Raymond Damadian, an Armenian-American doctor who invented the MRI machine. This is one of the greatest medical breakthroughs of the 20th century, enabling millions to be diagnosed and saved through early detection of diseases that were previously undetectable until it was too late. Luther George Simjian, an Armenian inventor, is believed to have invented the first ATM, completely changing the way financial transactions are conducted worldwide. Think about how many times you've used an ATM. You can thank Armenian innovation for that convenience. Boris Babayan, an Armenian engineer, is the father of the first supercomputer in the Soviet Union, laying the groundwork for many modern computing technologies that power everything from weather prediction to space exploration. And here's something that might surprise gamers around the world. The inventor of the legendary game Tetris, Alexei Pajitnov, also has Armenian roots. That addictive puzzle game that has consumed countless hours of people's lives worldwide? That's Armenian creativity at work. But the innovations don't stop there. Armenia also boasts the oldest church in the world and the oldest wine cellar in the world, showing that this country has been at the forefront of both spiritual and culinary development for millennia. A culinary journey through time. Finally, let's end our journey with something that will make your mouth water and your travel plans crystallize. Armenian cuisine combines the finest aspects of Eastern European and Middle Eastern cooking traditions, creating a delicious blend of influences from across the region that you simply cannot find anywhere else. Armenian cuisine is rich in vegetables, meats, fish, and dairy products, but it's the unique preparation methods and combinations that make it extraordinary. Lavash, the famous local flatbread we discussed earlier, lamb, eggplant, and fresh herbs are key ingredients in many local dishes, but the way they're combined creates flavors that are both familiar and completely new. Be sure to try the famous kurjan, a traditional mountain dish with a romantic backstory. According to local lore, the wives of shepherds would prepare kurjan for their husbands before they ventured into the mountains for weeks or months. This convenient dish is a simple but perfect combination of meat and vegetables wrapped in a large lavash that's designed to provide complete nutrition and stay fresh during long journeys. One of the most traditional dishes in Armenia is gaypama, a stuffed pumpkin filled with rice, raisins, and dried fruits, typically served on special occasions. The preparation of gapama is almost ceremonial, with families gathering to help stuff the pumpkin and sharing stories while it cooks. If you have a sweet tooth, the sweet bread gata will leave you speechless. This isn't just bread, it's a work of art with layers of dough and sweet filling that creates textures and flavors you've never experienced. Then there's sujuk, a traditional local candy made from walnuts wrapped in fruit dough that provides the perfect balance of nuts, fruit, and sweetness. For a true market experience, the famous gum market in Yerevan is filled with nuts, dried fruits, vegetables, various local cheeses, and most importantly, warm hospitality. Vendors will insist you taste their products, share stories about their families, and often invite you to learn about traditional preparation methods. We've just taken an incredible journey through 15 mind-blowing facts about Armenia, the land of the world's most unique things. From ancient underground cities carved into volcanic rock to modern cable cars that break world records, from mandatory chess education to villages where storks build apartment complexes, Armenia consistently proves that the most remarkable experiences often come from places you've never heard of. If you're planning your next adventure, consider Armenia not just as a destination, but as a journey through time where every experience tells a story of human ingenuity, creativity, and survival. From the pink glow of Yerevan at sunset to the breathtaking ride on the wings of Titiev, deep from the taste of authentic gapama to the sound of the duduk echoing through ancient valleys, Armenia offers memories that will last a lifetime. I'm curious to hear from you, which of these 15 facts surprised you the most? Have you ever experienced anything similar in your travels, or does Armenia now top your bucket list? Share in the comments below what aspect of Armenian culture you'd most like to experience firsthand. I read every comment and love hearing about your travel dreams and experiences. And don't forget to hit subscribe, turn on notifications bell so we can see you again in our next video. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I hope you enjoyed it. Your support truly means the world. Wishing you the best of luck. A nation believed by many to hold the greatest wealth of natural resources in the world, known for its strikingly beautiful women, yet trapped in a severe social crisis where its money has lost almost all value, becoming worth less than the paper it is printed on. This land is also home to the highest and most impressive waterfall on Earth, and its story is a fascinating journey that I will share in the next part of this video. Even today, there are indigenous groups that live without outside contact and without wearing clothes. It is also a country full of unusual facts, such as the government offering support for beauty training and even funding cosmetic procedures like nose surgery and breast enhancement. Great to have you here. Comment your location so we know where we're connecting from. And these are 10 surprising truths found only in Venezuela. Venezuela sits on the largest proven oil reserves in the entire world. We're talking about more oil more than Russia, more than any other country on Earth. Venezuela also holds the largest gold reserves in all of the Americas, dating back to the days when Spanish conquistadors arrived searching for El Dorado. On top of that, it's the fourth largest natural gas producer globally. Despite having more natural wealth than almost any other nation, Venezuela's economy has collapsed so dramatically that its currency is literally worth less than the paper it's printed on. To understand this better, we need to know its past, from the original tribes to the arrival of European colonizers and the leaders of the present. Before Christopher Columbus and his expeditions, Venezuela was home to many indigenous peoples. Today, some indigenous Venezuelan societies, such as the Yanomami, still live much as they did centuries ago, close to nature and hidden deep in the Amazon rainforest. They keep customs that may seem controversial to people in cities, such as polygamy with communities where one man has several wives, or living without clothes in some situations as part of their bond with the land and their community rituals. These geographic challenges were faced in 1498 by Christopher Columbus when he reached the Venezuelan coast during his third voyage to the New World. Even so, the first Spanish settlements soon began to appear, drawn mainly by gold and cocoa, resources already known for their value. The origin of the country's name is closely tied to its colonial past. It was Amerigo Vespucci, the explorer who gave his name to the American continent, who saw indigenous stilt houses on Lake Maracaibo, homes built above the water, and was reminded of the Italian city of Venice, famous for its canals. Inspired by this sight, he decided to call these lands Venezuela, which literally means Little Venice. Although Europeans were already searching for gold, cocoa, and other resources, the true scale of the country's wealth was only revealed centuries later when oil exploitation began to transform the Venezuelan economy and society. You wake up in the morning, and a loaf of bread costs 1 million bolivars. By afternoon, that same loaf costs 2 million bolivars. By evening, it's 3 million. This actually happened in Venezuela during the height of its hyperinflation crisis. The situation became so absurd that people literally needed suitcases full of money to buy basic groceries. ATM machines couldn't dispense enough cash for a single transaction because the physical volume of bills required was too large for the machines to handle. Restaurants had to change their prices multiple times per day, and some businesses simply gave up on pricing altogether, switching to bartering systems. A bottle of water could cost more than filling up an entire gas tank. Think about that for a moment. This happened because Venezuela heavily subsidized gasoline while basic goods became impossibly expensive due to currency devaluation. Saving money became pointless because your savings would lose half their value overnight. People started hoarding non-perishable goods, appliances, anything that would hold value better than cash. Transportation became a luxury because even though gas was cheap, everything else associated with travel became prohibitively expensive. Yet somehow, the Venezuelan people adapted with incredible creativity and resilience. Many turned to online work, cryptocurrency, and international remittances to survive. They developed informal networks of support and bartering that kept communities functioning when the formal economy collapsed. What do you think about the people here? If you find them resilient, leave a comment with the number 4 below and get ready to see a strange culture that is about to appear next. Now here's something that will make you question everything you think you know about government priorities. While Venezuelan hospitals lacked basic medicines and equipment, while people were struggling to afford food, the government was subsidizing beauty courses and cosmetic surgeries for women. Venezuela has won more international beauty contests than any other country in the world. To maintain this reputation, the government implemented policies supporting modeling training, aesthetic education, and even plastic surgery procedures. We're talking about government-funded rhinoplasty and breast augmentation, all in the name of promoting beauty as a national value. The statistics are staggering. Venezuela performs over 85,000 breast augmentation procedures annually, giving it one of the highest rates of cosmetic surgery per capita globally. This obsession with physical appearance became so ingrained in the culture that many women prioritized cosmetic procedures over basic necessities. The contradiction is mind-bending. In a country where people were literally starving, the government was paying for breast implants. Enjoyed the video? Don't forget to ring the bell, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. It truly helps me out, and I promise to bring you even more awesome content. And now, let's explore one of the most epic adventure stories. The story behind Angel Falls reads like an adventure novel. Most people assume this magnificent waterfall was named for religious reasons or perhaps some ancient indigenous legend. In the 1930s, an American pilot named Jimmy Angel was flying over the Venezuelan wilderness searching for gold. He was essentially a treasure hunter with an airplane, exploring the mysterious tepuas, those massive flat-topped mountains that rise like islands above the jungle canopy. These geological formations look so otherworldly that they inspired Sir Arthur Conan Doyle to write The Lost World. During one of his flights over the Grand Sabana region, Jimmy spotted something that took his breath away. From the top of Oyan Tepuy, an entire river was plunging into the void in a waterfall so tall that much of the water turned to mist before reaching the ground. Fascinated by this discovery, Jimmy decided to land his plane on top of the tepuy to investigate further. Here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. His plane got stuck in the mud on top of this seemingly inaccessible mountain plateau. Jimmy, his wife, and two companions found themselves stranded hundreds of meters above the jungle floor with no way to call for help. They were trapped for 11 days, battling dense vegetation, treacherous terrain, and the constant threat of falling off the edge of this sky-high plateau. But they finally managed to descend and share their incredible discovery with the world. That's how the highest waterfall on Earth came to be named after Jimmy Angel, not because of any divine connection, but because of one man's accidental discovery during a gold hunting expedition gone wrong. The waterfall drops 976 meters, almost a full kilometer straight down. It's so tall that standing at the bottom and looking up, you can barely see the top through the mist and clouds. Jimmy never found the gold he was searching for, but he gave the world something far more valuable and eternal. Mount Roraima, one of the most spectacular tepuas, served as the inspiration for Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's novel The Lost World. When Doyle described a South American plateau still inhabited by prehistoric creatures, he was drawing from the otherworldly appearance of these Venezuelan formations. Some locals still believe there might be truth to these fantastical stories. When you see these tepuis from above, you understand why they spark such imagination. They appear to be genuine floating islands, their flat tops rising above a sea of clouds, completely isolated from the world below. Each tepuy is essentially a biological island in the sky, hosting unique ecosystems that have evolved in isolation for millions of years. In the heart of Caracas stands one of the most bizarre urban phenomena in the world, the Torre de David, the tallest unoccupied office building on the planet. Originally designed as a symbol of Venezuela's modernization and economic progress, this 45-story skyscraper was abandoned during construction when the economy collapsed. But here's where the story becomes truly extraordinary. Rather than remaining empty, thousands of families moved into this unfinished tower, creating what became known as a vertical city. Entire floors were converted into homes, shops, and community spaces. Families established businesses, children played in the corridors, and a complete society developed within this concrete shell. Residents created their own electrical systems, water distribution networks, and waste management solutions. They established schools, beauty salons, and even small restaurants within the building. Do you want to witness a non-stop natural light show? You'll discover why it only happens in one small corner of the world. Now let me tell you about one of the most incredible natural phenomena on Earth that happens exclusively in Venezuela. At the mouth of the Catatumbo River, where it meets Lake Maracaibo, nature puts on a light show that defies belief. This isn't just any thunderstorm. This is a lightning display that occurs almost every single night for up to 10 hours at a time, producing up to 300 lightning strikes per minute. The Catatumbo lightning, as it's known, happens roughly 300 nights per year. Imagine living in a place where the sky explodes with electricity almost every evening, creating a natural strobe light that can be seen from 400 kilometers away. This phenomenon is so consistent and so bright that it has historically served as a lighthouse for ships navigating the Caribbean coast. The science behind this is fascinating. The unique geography of the region creates perfect conditions for this electrical storm. Warm, moist air from the Caribbean Sea collides with cool air from the Andes Mountains, creating massive cumulonimbus clouds that generate continuous electrical activity. The methane from the surrounding wetlands may also contribute to the intensity of the lightning. But here's what makes it truly mind-blowing. This single location produces more lightning than anywhere else on Earth. It generates so much electrical activity that it contributes significantly to the regeneration of the planet's ozone layer. One small region in Venezuela is literally helping to heal our atmosphere every single night. They called it the River of Fire in the Sky. Spanish conquistadors wrote about it in their journals, describing nights when the entire horizon would flicker with continuous lightning. Deep in the Amazonian rivers of Venezuela lives a creature so terrifying that it has become the stuff of legends and nightmares. The candiru is a tiny parasitic fish, barely larger than a toothpick, but it's capable of causing some of the most intense pain imaginable. Here's what makes this fish absolutely horrifying. The candiru is attracted to urea, the chemical compound found in human urine. This means that if someone urinates directly into the water where these fish live, the candiru can be drawn to the stream and potentially enter the human body through the urethra. This fish can swim up into the male genital tract. The pain caused by a candiru is described as excruciating and unrelenting. The fish has backward-facing spines that prevent it from being easily removed once it enters the body. These spines anchor it in place, causing mechanical irritation and intense pressure as the fish tries to burrow deeper. Removing a candiru requires immediate medical intervention and often surgical procedures. Any delay can lead to serious complications, including infection, tissue damage, and, in extreme cases, life-threatening conditions. The psychological trauma of such an experience is often as severe as the physical pain. Capybaras can grow to over 1 meter in length and weigh up to 65 kilograms. When you first see one, especially if you're unfamiliar with South American wildlife, the experience can be genuinely startling. They look like something that escaped from the prehistoric era, massive rodents that seem too large to be real. Despite their intimidating size and somewhat menacing appearance, capybaras are completely peaceful herbivores. They're essentially giant guinea pigs with a calm, almost zen-like demeanor. They spend their days lounging by water, grazing on grass, and socializing with their groups. Capybaras have become internet sensations precisely because of this contradiction between their imposing size and their incredibly chill personality. They're so relaxed that other animals often use them as living furniture. You'll see birds perching on their backs, monkeys riding them like horses, and even caimans peacefully coexisting with them. Despite all the challenges Venezuela faces, it remains one of the most extraordinary travel destinations on Earth, offering experiences you literally cannot find anywhere else. The combination of natural wonders, cultural uniqueness, and economic conditions creates a travel scenario that's both incredible and surreal. For international visitors carrying US dollars or euros, Venezuela has become one of the most affordable countries in the world due to its economic situation. A complete meal for 2 people can cost around $10, and a night in a basic hotel might run about $20. This means that travelers can experience world-class natural wonders at a fraction of the cost they would pay anywhere else. Getting to Angel Falls requires a journey that's an adventure in itself. Visitors typically fly from Caracas to Canema, then take small aircraft over the Tepuas to reach the waterfall. The flight alone is breathtaking, offering aerial views of landscapes that look more like alien planets than earthly terrain. The organized tours include local guides who share indigenous knowledge about the region, camping under stars in one of the most remote places on the planet. For those interested in cultural experiences, Venezuela offers the rare opportunity to visit indigenous communities that maintain traditional ways of life. These carefully managed cultural exchanges, always conducted with respect for local customs and privacy, they provide insights into human societies that have remained largely unchanged for centuries. The contrast between Venezuela's natural beauty and its social challenges creates a travel experience unlike anywhere else. Visitors witness both the incredible resilience of the Venezuelan people and the stunning magnificence of their natural environment. It's a journey that challenges preconceptions and provides a deeper understanding of how geography, history, and politics intersect to create unique human experiences. These 10 facts reveal why Venezuela is one of the most complex and fascinating countries on our planet. From hyperinflation so extreme that money becomes worthless paper, to government-subsidized beauty treatments during economic collapse, to natural wonders that inspired fantasy literature, Venezuela defies every expectation and challenges every assumption. The country represents the ultimate contradiction: incredible natural wealth alongside economic devastation, stunning beauty coexisting with serious challenges, the ancient traditions surviving in a modern world. It's a place where a pilot's navigation mistake led to discovering the world's tallest waterfall, where tiny fish can cause nightmares, and where giant peaceful rodents roam the wetlands. What strikes me most about Venezuela is the resilience and creativity of its people. Despite facing challenges that would break many societies, Venezuelans have found ways to adapt, survive, and even thrive. They've turned abandoned skyscrapers into vertical cities, created alternative economies when formal systems failed, and maintained their cultural identity through incredible hardships. Venezuela reminds us that our world is far more complex and surprising than we often realize. Behind every headline, there are human stories of adaptation, natural wonders that defy imagination, and cultural phenomena that challenge our understanding of what's possible. I'm curious about your thoughts on these incredible Venezuelan facts. Which one surprised you the most? Have you ever experienced hyperinflation or economic instability in your own country? And here's a question that really interests me. If you could visit Venezuela safely, which of these natural wonders would you want to see first? Angel Falls, the Catatumbo lightning, or the mysterious tepuis? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment and love hearing your perspectives on these amazing stories from around our world. If you enjoyed discovering these mind-blowing facts about Venezuela, you'll definitely want to check out my video about the most dangerous places on Earth that people actually live in. Click the card on screen now to continue this incredible journey around our planet's most extreme locations. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss these fascinating explorations of our world's most incredible places and stories. Trust me, there are so many more unbelievable facts waiting to be discovered. The Balkans is a vast region that contains a unique world of its own. If you've never visited the Balkans and wish to explore a country in that area, Albania should be your first stop. Albanians are not confined solely to Albania. They are a widespread nation found in almost every country in the Balkans. For instance, in Kosovo, about 95% of the population is Albanian, while in North Macedonia nearly half of the population has Albanian roots. Interestingly, the origins of the Albanian people do not trace back to Italians or Ottoman Turks. Instead, they are primarily descendants of the aliens. However, the origins of their flag do not date back to the aliens. The flag has a history of approximately 600 years, tracing back to the time of the Ottoman Empire. What is the secret behind the more than 170,000 abandoned concrete bunkers scattered throughout a European country? And why do Albanian men prefer renting luxury cars over buying homes? In this video, we will gain a better understanding of the local lifestyle. The weather. It's worth noting that Albania has no natural gas infrastructure and no central heating systems. Even the hotels rely entirely on air conditioning and electric water heaters. This means every household needs air conditioning units. But freezing weather only lasts 2 to 3 months per year. The rest of the time, temperatures are so mild that this heating situation actually works perfectly. In Tirana, the capital, life happens outdoors year-round. Whether it's morning, afternoon, or late at night, the streets are packed with people. The mild climate creates this incredible street culture where socializing happens outside constantly. Means of transportation. Despite Tirana being a bustling capital city with heavy traffic, there's no metro system. No trams either. Instead, you'll see thousands of people using bicycles and electric scooters weaving through the crowded streets. But the taxi situation is where things get really interesting. You'll notice 2 distinct types of taxis. The yellow ones are standard, but the green and white taxis represent luxury. Many of these premium taxis are actually electric vehicles from Chinese brands, and you cannot use Uber or Lyft in Albania. While Uber has expanded across most of Europe, Albania remains one of the holdout countries. You'll need to rely on local taxi apps or hail cabs the old-fashioned way. The country does have excellent infrastructure though. 4 airports, railway systems, and world-class roads. There's even a city called Saranda where you won't find a single traffic signal, yet traffic flows smoothly. Do you want to experience this? Comment yes if you do, or no if you don't. Because this is what men here would choose, owning a car rather than buying a house. The Albanian obsession with cars. With this next fact, Albanian men often prioritize buying cars over owning homes. Let me repeat that, they'd rather have a luxury car than property. Some men actually rent expensive vehicles just to impress their girlfriends. This isn't about practical transportation. It's about status, power, and social perception. For many Albanian men, a luxury vehicle provides a sense of authority and attractiveness that they value more than long-term financial security. You'll see this everywhere, modest apartments with expensive cars parked outside. This cultural priority creates a fascinating dynamic where the streets are filled with high-end vehicles, but many people are actually renting or financing way beyond their means. It's a cultural phenomenon that reflects deeper values about image and social status in Albanian society. Albanian physical characteristics. Here's something you'll notice immediately when walking through Albanian cities. The younger generation is incredibly focused on personal appearance. Hair, beards, and makeup are taken very seriously. Most Albanians have naturally black hair and fair skin. Blonde hair, green eyes, or blue eyes are quite rare among ethnic Albanians. If you see blonde, blue-eyed people on the streets, they're likely Scandinavian tourists. Albanians are often considered genetically beautiful and handsome. There's a natural elegance and attractiveness that's widely recognized. Albanian women. Imagine the most stunningly beautiful women you've ever seen, strolling through scenic coastlines and ancient ruins. It's Europe, after all. But what really amazed me was how lively, self-assured, and unapologetically beautiful the women are here. When I walked through Tirana, the capital, I couldn't help but notice how fashionable the women looked. There's a sense of effortless elegance about them, like they woke up and naturally put together outfits that could easily belong on a runway. Whether it's smart casual or more traditional wear, the blend of modern and classic styles is striking. Even in the tiniest cafes or busy streets, women showcase the latest trends, yet always with a personal touch. There's a quiet confidence in the way they dress. It's not about being loud or flashy. It's about showing their personality through style with subtlety and grace. What's especially impressive is that Albanian women don't blindly follow trends. They add their own unique twist to fashion, seamlessly mixing high-end items with local craftsmanship. Whether it's a beautifully handmade scarf or a pair of heels that highlight their individuality, their style speaks volumes without saying a word. But it's not just about the clothes. It's about how they present themselves. There's a noticeable self-confidence in the way they move. Whether sitting at a cafe, walking down the street, or chatting with friends, they do it with purpose and a quiet confidence that draws you in. It's not loud, but it's unmistakable. What really stood out to me is how independent and multilingual many Albanian women are. Most women here speak at least 2 languages, and English is common, especially among younger people. It's not unusual to hear conversations in English, Italian, or Greek alongside Albanian. Would you like to date women here? If so, comment number 4 below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the bell, share with your friends, and click the subscribe button. Get ready to hear this before booking your ticket to Albania, the cash-only reality. If you're in the capital city of Tirana, credit cards should work at most places. However, if you visit places like Shkodër or Vlora, it's always a good idea to have cash with you. In Albania, the local currency is the lek, and just to give you an idea, 500 Albanian lek is around $4 US. The exchange rate is quite a change and it can take a bit to get used to, but there are plenty of ATMs around, so getting cash isn't difficult. Still, it's important to have cash because not all places accept credit cards, and if they are cash only, you might find yourself in trouble. Though the country has joined NATO, it is not yet a member of the European Union. If Albania were to become part of the EU, its economy could improve significantly. For example, the local currency, the lek, is not very strong. €1 is roughly equal to 100 Albanian lek. This low value has led to the printing of banknotes in larger denominations like 500, 1,000, and even 2,000 lek. Even basic items like cheese and olives can cost over 200 lek, and meals at restaurants aren't exactly cheap. This suggests that Albania is dealing with inflation and its purchasing power is relatively weak, which makes even basic food items expensive. For instance, a meal for 3 people at a typical Italian restaurant costs around €50, which might seem pricey. However, for travelers coming from the United States or wealthier countries like Switzerland, Denmark, or the UAE, this could feel very affordable. But for someone earning €1,500 or €2,000 a month, dining out can be a real splurge. Because of this, many Albanians prefer to cook larger meals at home or spend less rather than pay higher prices for meat at restaurants. Albanians also have a strong preference for Turkish and Roma music, which is why you'll often see Roma musicians performing on the streets. Shocking cuisine. Albanian cuisine focuses heavily on grilled meats, and when I say grilled, I mean perfectly charred and seasoned with herbs like oregano, thyme, and rosemary. You'll find lamb, beef, chicken, and pork prepared with techniques passed down through generations. Raki. This homemade firewater is made from fermented fruit, usually grapes or plums. It looks like water but drinks like liquid fire. What shocked me most was the insistence around raki. Albanians don't just offer it to be polite, they want you to experience their culture through this drink. Refusing raki is like rejecting friendship itself. You could be sitting in a random cafe when the owner appears with homemade raki, pouring drinks as if it's the most natural thing in the world. The generosity is so ingrained that saying no feels impossible. They'll smile and say, "This is raki. Drink with us." It's not just alcohol, it's a gesture of goodwill and cultural connection. Due to the significant Muslim population, you'll notice halal signs in certain areas, particularly near mosques. These establishments don't serve pork products, creating distinct dining zones throughout the cities. The communist past. This next fact reveals Albania's darkest and most fascinating secret. For nearly 45 years, from 1946 to the early 1990s, Albania lived under Enver Hoxha's brutal dictatorship. The country became one of Europe's most isolated and paranoid nations, with virtually no contact with the outside world. The remnants of this era are everywhere. Functional buildings from the communist period stand alongside modern structures, creating a disorienting contrast that tells the story of Albania's dramatic transformation. Scattered across Albania are over 170,000 abandoned bunkers. These small, concrete dome-shaped structures dot the landscape like strange mushrooms. Hoxha's government built them to protect against foreign invasion, but they also represent the deep paranoia that characterized his regime. Today, most bunkers are abandoned, though some have been converted into cafes or art installations. Every few kilometers, you'll spot these concrete reminders of a time when Albania lived in constant fear of invasion. Old-timers still tell stories of growing up in a world that felt perpetually under siege. These bunkers aren't just historical curiosities, they're physical manifestations of how fear and isolation shaped an entire generation of Albanians. Corruption. Albania ranks among the most corrupt countries globally, with police leading the corruption statistics. You'll frequently see police imposing fines, though Albanians themselves contribute to the problem by not following driving laws consistently. Infrastructure surprises. Many Albanian streets have no sidewalks. Even in residential areas where you'd expect pedestrian infrastructure, you'll find yourself walking directly on roads alongside fast-moving traffic. People drive aggressively fast, creating dangerous situations for pedestrians. You'll need to stay alert and position yourself as close to parked cars as possible while navigating these sidewalk-free zones. In central Tirana, particularly around Skanderbeg Square, proper sidewalks exist. But in neighborhoods where you might stay in an Airbnb, sidewalks often disappear entirely. Travel timing and tips. The best time to visit Albania is summer, specifically June through August, though mid-July to August gets extremely hot and crowded due to European school holidays. Temperatures can reach 36-37 degc during peak periods, though typically range from 26-32 degc. For better experiences, visit during shoulder months, March, April, May, September, and October. These periods offer cooler weather, fewer crowds, lower prices, and the possibility of having beautiful beaches mostly to yourself. Here's a crucial tip: locals flood beaches on weekends. If you want to experience remote, pristine beaches, visit during weekdays. The difference is dramatic. Gchai Beach, for example, fills with tents and crowds on weekends but becomes nearly empty on weekdays. As a majority Muslim country, Albania requires respectful dress, especially when visiting mosques or churches. Women should cover up appropriately, though beach attire is acceptable at coastal areas. The Albanian Alps represent the country's hidden treasure. Spending 3 nights there provides incredible hiking opportunities, cultural immersion, and relief from summer heat. It's the perfect complement to coastal experiences. Hospitality. The final fact might be the most mind-blowing of all. Albanian hospitality operates on a level that will genuinely shock you. The moment you enter an Albanian home, you're treated like family. This isn't exaggeration or tourist marketing, it's cultural reality. Complete strangers will invite you into their homes and insist you stay for dinner after just meeting you. They genuinely cannot imagine not offering everything they have. Here, eat, they'll say, piling plates high with food. You're too skinny? They'll insist while stuffing more grilled meats and bread into your hands. But it's not just about food. It's about the love and genuine care behind every gesture. Family and guests represent the most important values in Albanian culture, and they'll treat you like family whether you've known them for years or minutes. I experienced this firsthand when a shopkeeper who barely spoke English invited me for coffee and insisted on showing me his hometown. When I tried to politely decline, he looked me straight in the eyes and said, "In Albania, we don't say no to a guest. You're here, so we take care of you." He introduced me to his entire family, showed me hidden local gems, and shared stories I'll never forget. This hospitality knows no boundaries and creates connections that transcend language barriers and cultural differences. Economic advantages. Albania imports many globally recognized brands, including most electronic devices, cars, and defense-related products. Although the country is abundant in natural fruits and vegetables, these products do not bring in as much revenue as technological goods. Because of this, there are only a few industries that generate significant income through sales. Apart from food and beverages, Albania also produces textiles and construction materials. The country's primary trading partners are Italy, Turkey, Greece, Germany, and China, with a large number of electric vehicles coming from China. However, Albania has a notable advantage. Unlike some other countries in the Balkans, it has access to the sea, which draws tourists and provides a boost to the economy. A coastline opens up many opportunities for development, which directly affects the number of visitors to the country. Albania, with its stunning beach cities like Jong-il, is especially attractive to tourists, particularly American and European visitors during the summer months, as they find the Balkans to be more affordable. Countries like Albania and Greece are among the top summer destinations for tourists from Northern Europe, providing a significant economic boost. Typical cuisine. If there is one dish that will leave a lasting impression on your taste buds, it is bajrak. This flaky pastry is a true Albanian favorite, crispy on the outside, soft and savory on the inside. Fillings vary from cheese and spinach to meat and potatoes. No matter which version you choose, the bajrak experience is unforgettable. Imagine biting into a warm, golden, buttery pastry that bursts with flavor. It is easy to see why bajrak is loved by both locals and visitors. What makes it even better is how widely available it is. Street vendors sell them everywhere at prices that are hard to believe. For just a few lek, you can enjoy a freshly baked bajrak that tastes like it came straight from a grandmother's kitchen. Each bite feels like a comforting hug from someone who has perfected the art of pastry. Albanian cuisine is also special because of its dedication to fresh ingredients. Olive oil, real, high-quality olive oil, is used in nearly every dish, from simple salads to roasted vegetables and grilled meats. The local olive oil is smooth, rich, and full of flavor that is hard to find elsewhere. It is more than an ingredient, it is part of the culture. Visiting a local farm might even give you a chance to taste it fresh from the source. Fresh herbs are another key element. Mint, oregano, basil, and parsley appear in almost every dish, adding a light, refreshing touch. It feels like the food was grown just steps away from your plate. Most Albanian restaurants emphasize farm-to-table cooking, using locally sourced ingredients. This approach creates food that is wholesome, clean, and full of flavor. With Albania's coastline, along the Adriatic and Ionian Seas, seafood naturally plays a large role in the local diet. Grilled fish, octopus, and shrimp are common, and the freshness is remarkable. One of my favorite dishes was grilled sea bass, which tasted as if it had just been caught moments before. Simple yet flavorful, paired with lemon and olive oil, it was perfection on a plate. The seafood may be straightforward, but its quality is hard to beat. Street food in Albania is another pleasant surprise, both for taste and price. You can find meals for $1 or $2 that rival restaurant quality. In Tirana, I came across a small stall selling corn and potatoes. While it looked simple, the flavors were exceptional. The potatoes were perfectly crisp, and the corn had the ideal balance of sweetness and smokiness. The most memorable moment was when a local noticed me standing there, confused by the menu. He ordered a dish for me and handed it over with a smile. I still do not know exactly what I ate, but it was delicious. The food here comes with a sense of warmth and generosity that is as memorable as the flavors themselves. An unpredictable welcome. I had several moments where I felt more like a guest than a tourist, as locals shared their favorite dishes with me and made me feel truly welcome. One evening, I was invited into a family's home for a meal, and they prepared a traditional dish of stuffed peppers and baked eggplant. The hospitality was incredible, and the food was some of the most flavorful I have ever tasted. It was not just the ingredients or the cooking, it was the care and love put into every dish. The food in Albania is more than something to eat. It is a way to connect with the heart of the country. It allows locals to welcome you into their lives and share something real and authentic. Sitting at that table with strangers who quickly became friends, I realized that the true essence of Albania is not just in its cuisine, but in the warmth, hospitality, and sense of community that comes with it. If you ever visit Albania, be ready to embrace the unpredictability of the food scene. One memory I will never forget is sitting in a cafe, staring at a menu filled with dishes I didn't recognize. A local woman at the next table noticed my hesitation. She waved the waiter over and said, "Don't worry. I'll make sure it's something you'll love," before ordering me a simple-looking salad. When the salad arrived, I took a bite and immediately realized it was one of the freshest, most vibrant salads I had ever tasted. It was full of seasonal vegetables, herbs, and drizzled with extra virgin olive oil unlike anything I had tried before. The best part was that I still do not know exactly what was in it. But it did not matter. This was another example of how food in Albania is about more than the ingredients. It is about the people, the experiences, and the stories that come with it. Albanian food is more than just a meal. It is an experience. From grilled meats and fresh seafood to farm-to-table dishes and street food that could rival a fine dining restaurant, Albania is a dream for food lovers. Beyond the flavors, the food is deeply tied to the country's culture and hospitality, making every bite a chance to connect with the people who call this place home. Visiting Albania will not just satisfy your appetite, it will leave you enchanted with every bite. The country combines Mediterranean beauty with Balkan authenticity, modern aspirations with ancient traditions, and genuine warmth with fascinating complexity. Whether you're drawn to the Albanian Alps, the pristine beaches, or the vibrant street culture, this hidden gem offers adventures that will exceed your expectations. Remember to bring cash, respect local customs, and prepare yourself for hospitality that might actually overwhelm you. Most importantly, approach Albania with an open mind and willingness to experience a culture that operates by its own unique rules. If you found these facts as mind-blowing as I did, make sure you're subscribed for more hidden European destinations that most travelers never discover. What surprised you most about Albania? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know which Balkan country you'd like me to explore next.